out to all my friends that played and were taking lessons that if you loaned us your amplifiers for this show, we would get you in, and you can hang out on stage with us, and not be out in the audience. And so we got about five amplifiers from different guitar players, and we hooked them all up as one. Instead of me having one amp and Bug having one amp, me and Bug had 5 amps, all hooked up in a series, and we could control them by hooking them up in a series. That's what we used to call it. From input to input to input to input. And because we didn't have bass, so we had to have a sound coming from one part of the amps that was the bass, and one was guitar sound. And it was pretty cool because we had like power. We really had power. Those other bands weren't hip to that. They were really schooled. They knew how to play songs and sound like the record, but they had no imagination. I remember the night before, we were in my father's basement. My father was at the restaurant. Me and Bug bought T-shirts and we bought paint, and we were like tie-dyeing shirts and painting on them like psychedelic colors and stuff. And I bought a hat that was like a George Washington hat, like from the colonial days. That was my look. I had an army jacket.
And what was the name of this band?
The band was called CLYDE. CLYDE.
Why?
CLYDE. Well, we used to hang out at this head shop where they used to sell posters and incense and all the black lights that would make the posters glow, and all these hippie clothes and stuff. And the guy that owned it was like a college kid, him and his sister, and they really liked us because we had a band, and so they would help us, they would, make sure that we had some, they wouldn't give us clothes, but we had to pay for that stuff, but they would give us things to wear, like beads, and so we really had a really wild look, and Bug's hair was super long. He had one of those jackets that they wear in the marching bands. It looks like a lion tamer's jacket. It has like the brushes on the collar, on the shoulders with the ropes, and it was really cool. We were completely different from anybody there, and that's why we really were on the floor, because they didn't want these all these bands that were there. Their fathers and stuff were on these committees, church committees and stuff. They wanted their sons to win. You know what I mean? We were like the street kids, man. We were from uptown down by the bay.
And where was this at?
This is in Bayonne.
At where?
St. Andrews. It was the Battle of the Bands. St. Andrews Battle of the Bands. They used to have Battle of the Bands with marching groups, like high school marching bands. And then they started having 1 month with, rock and roll. So we went on last after all the bands got the best spots,
And you guys had no space on stage?
No, we were on the floor. With the stages like here, it's like a stage with curtains and stuff. And all the bands were set up there, and there was no more room. So we're on the floor underneath the stage, like in front of the stage, where the audience is standing. And
ground level.
Ground level, yeah, it's funny. So we said, what are we gonna do, man? We got to come up with something that blows these people away. We didn't care if we won. We just wanted to blow them away. So we got this idea to get lighter fluid, because we saw Hendrix movie about Monterey Park where he lit his guitar on fire. So we didn't do that because we needed our guitars to play, you know. We couldn't destroy them but we set the cymbals on fire in the last song, in the drum solo. It was the last song. You only got to do 2 songs, too. Everybody else got to do plenty. But I remember taking a lighter fluid and putting it on the drums while he was doing his drum solo. And we had this thing that Bug's father, because he was an electrician, he got a small, like, summer fan, you know, with the propeller on it.
Mm-hmm.
He took the propeller off. He put a piece of cardboard where the propeller goes, and he cut a hole in it, and we put a bright light behind it, and when the fan turned with the lights were low, it looked like we were like in a strobe effect, like a strobe light effect. And it looked like we were moving like in crazy motions, you know, with the crazy colors and stuff.
Like a kaleidoscope.
It was more like a strobe effect.
Mm-hmm.
Made you look like a shutter.
See if I can figure out how to do that with my camera.
Well,
Not now,
they
but
got strobes now. You can buy them in the store. But yeah, we were pretty artistic. And when we lit the cymbals on fire in the drum solo, people are going nuts, man. They're going nuts. And Father Del Monte, because if the lights are low, you know, all I see is flashlights, and somebody's going, the stage is on fire. The stage is on fire. And they call the fire department. He comes up, he goes, you guys will never play in here again. You'll never play in Bayonne again, you know.
who said that?
Father Del Monte. He was in charge of the church. And that was it.
So I guess y'all didn't win.
Of course not. But we were the talk of this high school that week. We're always doing things to blow people's minds, you know, because they were like squares. Yeah, that was funny.
Okay.
And then from there, the guy that owned the head shop that sold all the rolling papers and all that stuff.
Was his name Clyde?
No, his name was Steve Gerton. Steve Gerton.
So who was
And
Clyde?
Susan was his partner. Clyde was the name of the band.
I know, but where did
It didn't make sense. It was just that's what was hip in those days. Nothing made sense. So the weirder name you had, the more people would talk about you. Like the Who. What does that mean? You know, Cream. You know, what does that mean? Cream meant the best of all, the best of all the musicians, the cream of the crop. That's what that meant. But Clyde was just completely out there.
So that was the end of that band.
No, we got a lot of stuff going on, because the guy from the head shop became our manager, and he started getting us all these college dorms would have these parties, you know, on the weekends, and we'd be the band, we'd play and we'd make money.
And what was his full name?
Steve Gerton.
Mm-hmm.
His partner was Susan, I forgot her name. But he was like he was really cool.